Let's talk about the Topping DX5 Lite. Welcome back to the thrift shop. So today we're going to talk about the Topping DX5 Lite all-in-one DAC amp combo, $349 on APOS. Although I just looked it up and they're out of stock. So either it's that popular, not sure. They sent this out to me for a review, so not sure if it's out of stock, why a review is good. Anyways, I will keep checking back. I will post a link to the product on APOS when it's back in stock. You can purchase it. If I don't see it coming back in stock, I will put an Amazon link out there for you because it costs you nothing, helps out the channel, just a couple bucks at a time. Anyways, we're here to talk about how does this thing sound, how does it function, whatever. So we're going to do a unit tour right now. So obviously volume knob, screen, you get your headphone out. The back, you're getting preamp outputs, XLR, RCA, you got your Bluetooth input, and I'm sure there's a antenna in the box. I don't use Bluetooth when connected through my computer. A USB optical and coax here, and try to keep those beauty caps on. Obviously you get a full-size IEC electrical input and your on-off. So pretty straightforward, pretty easy. All right, so one of the things you can't do on a unit tour is look at the screen. So we're going to do a screen view now, and I can kind of show you how to get into the menu, and then what you can adjust, and the flavors that it gives you. So we'll go to that now. So as I mentioned here, I want to do a little bit of a screen look. So if you look here, you'll see you have the USB plus line out, headphone amplifier, or pre-out, line out. Tells you if you're using PCM. Obviously you're getting your dBs, and it tells you the frequency that you're running at. I'm not running any super high ultra. I'm just running CD quality stuff through my MacBook into this USB input. But I do want to show you one thing, if I can. Gotta figure out how I'm going to do this. Anyways, so you have to turn this off and then press and hold the button, the volume button knob, and then turn it on. Once you're in there, you're in the menu. So you get auto on. I think that's because I believe there's a trigger on the back. Display, high, low. And none of these take effect immediately. You have to save and exit. So there's no harm to mess around in here. So line out mode, DAC, you see there, or pre. Gain mode, high, low. Output. So here you can change both. And I did make a mistake once, and I was not getting any audio out of my headphone amp, and it took me a while to figure that out. Line out, you can do RCA, XLR, or both. PCM filter, I have mode 3, just one where I left it, liked it. Bluetooth is on, LDAC, if you are into that thing. You have phase normal, phase invert, dithering mode, mid, high, low. See, I left it at mid. Volume steps, you can change this to be as small or as big as you want. Even at 1 dB, it's kind of slow. You have to turn the knob quite a bit. So I would suggest you leave it 1. You can see here I have it on valve sound, and you can change that to transistor sound or sound mode off. We'll leave it in valve sound for the next person that reviews this product. Balance, center, right, right, right. So this is probably one you shouldn't hit because you're going to have to cycle through for a lot just to get back. All right, so you can see here it's going to take forever. Finally. And then save and exit. Boom. You're done. You do touch the, let me back up here. you do touch the knob to, sorry, I'm holding my phone. I need to get a little stand for this. You can cycle between your inputs, which is pretty nice. So just one touch here. And lastly, you can turn it off and on from the front by a long press. And you get a nice CU. So there you go. And turn it back on, one quick press, and it cycles on really fast, just that fast. So there you go. That is kind of the view of the front of this thing. We're tired of hearing about specs, right? No, we gotta talk about specs, right? Importantly, what does this thing have in it? And that'll lead up to how it sounds. So let's see, the DX5 Lite is using the ESS 9068 AS DAC chip with a THD plus N of 0.0009%. Measures low, all right, 128 dB of dynamic range. You know, these things it's been tested and tested. Topping products are squeaky clean. Don't worry. It has Bluetooth, LDAC, 24-bit, 96 Hertz LDAC. Power? This thing's actually pretty powerful. They call it the Lite, but it's actually pretty powerful. It is 1.8 watts at 32 ohms. It is 250 milliwatts at 300 ohms. So you can drive your high impedance headphones, and it's got enough power for a lot of planars, and of course all IEMs, or nearly all IEMs, will be fine. You have low gain, high gain, 0 dB, 12 dB of gain. As pointed out with the review, you have pre-out, both XLR and RCA pre-out, or you can set it in DAC mode and it'll output constant voltage, and we have to talk about that a little bit later. But you can do all these functions. So you can switch XLR, you can turn the RCAs on, off, you can turn XLRs on, off. There's no limit basically to what topping is put inside this. It does come with a remote. I don't even get them out of the package. You know, I'm sitting right here, I can touch it. I don't need a remote. If you're using this for your TV, maybe preamp for your 2-channel system, fine. You know, the remote comes in handy. Yes, I agree, something that you should use. So with that, how does this thing sound? That's probably the most important thing, right? Well, and just like topping products, I think you're getting a darker, cooler kind of sound frequency response, I guess, best way of putting it. You're getting a lot of treble energy. It's pretty thin. I mean, you're getting decent bass in that, but compared to an i5 product or a Denafrips product, which is very warm, lush, the ship products, which have a lot of bass energy, and the Bifrost 264 right here has a ton of treble energy, kind of more of a U-shape, I would call it, or nearly a V-shape, somewhere in quasi in there. You know, topping is going to be very linear, and you're going to have to pair it with the right kind of products. So I did both. I used both the 6.35 and the XLR headphone output. I didn't notice a lot of difference in power, but that was just me. So starting off with headphone number 1 was the SJY Starry Night. I love this headphone. Watch my review on this. This has a lot of treble energy. That's why I have these perforated suede pads put on here. This absorbs a lot of that. So right out of the box, these two are not the greatest. These are extremely hard to drive. I don't remember the sensitivity, but they're, you know, like 87 or 85 dB at 1 watt. So they are kind of hard to drive. On this dial here, I was down to around 8 or 9, so almost fully pushing this to get this to a, you know, a pretty reasonable level. But you know, with a planar and how fast a planar headphone is, it basically gives you a lot of detail, a lot of energy. You know, it's more of a reference, clinical type of sound. Although I do have this put into valve mode at the moment. You can do transistor, valve, or sound preferences off. I do like the valve. It gives a more of a pleasant sound out of this system. But yeah, you know, it drove these, which there are a lot of headphone amps that can't drive this, to put it in perspective. So it sounded good. I enjoyed it. I could use it every day, and I would be perfectly happy with this headphone amp. Next, we went with a dynamic driver, the FIO FT3 350 ohm, not the 32 ohm. So I think there's a lot of confusion out there. I actually love this headphone paired with a tube amp. So, you know, I thought, hey, let's give it a try. We're going to try to push this thing 350 ohms out of this, let's call it budget, entry level, you know, a DAC amp combo at $349. That's kind of, you know, what it is. You could get separates for 160, 170 each, and, you know, be in this kind of ballpark, which I would still call entry level. You know, this headphone is known to have a lot of treble energy, and can be quite piercing, actually. Mixed with the topping, it's not the best sound. You know, I've done a lot of work. These actually have the second pads in them, perforated, and, you know, did everything I could to kind of calm these down. But with this pairing, you know, I was able to drive it. It was down again around the SJY Starry Night at around 8 or 9. So there's only a few more digital clicks of this thing left to power this. But it did. It was up to a reasonable level. It was just very treble focused and very thin, and, you know, it's not best suited for this headphone. Doesn't mean dynamics are not going to work on this. It just means, you know, maybe not 350 ohms, if that makes sense. Lastly, we had what I thought was the best pairing, and my headphone is currently caught up. I gotta take off my cable. Hard audio cables, by the way. You know, you probably hear it out there quite a bit. For me, I have about 3 or 4 of these, and absolutely love them. I know it has nothing to do with this review, but, you know, just having hard audio cables and being able to switch XLR 3.5 to, you know, 6.35, you know, just makes life really, really easy. And I can switch back and forth. I don't even have to take the connector off. I can use the quick connect. So just a shameless plug for hard audio cables, no affiliation whatsoever. So here we have the Verum Audio Mark II headphone. This thing is like 8 ohm impedance, so it's basically like grounding out. So this is a test for every headphone. So if you're not getting kind of where I'm going with this headphone, it's started off with a hard to drive planar, went to a hard to drive high impedance dynamic driver, and then I go to a low impedance planar. And while these are easy to drive, sensitivity is pretty high. The impedance will somewhat crash a headphone amplifier. In this, and a Topping DX5 Lite, were absolutely glorious, which is usually not the case. I find that usually with lower end things, they can't handle the low impedance. Either the impedance of the system is high enough that it makes things sound thin. You can hear some cracking and distortion, and the amplifier basically just doesn't like it. In this case, there was absolutely no problem, and it was just harmonious. I was listening to, I should say, I was using the Moondrop Variations before any of these headphones, and then I came back to this. And so I've been listening to a lot of acoustic music. So I was listening to, let's see here, pull it up. Nirvana, Where Did You Sleep Last Night live, unplugged. And then Chris Cornell. It can be anything from his songbook. The current song I just listened to was Seasons, and absolutely glorious. So yeah, I mean, it all is going to, with this, again, having a lot of treble energy, being very thin, if you get something a little bit warm, lush, to pair with it, you get a better kind of end result. And this sounded really great. Great bass, great mid bass. Vocals were just popping out. Treble energy was, just perfect. It added just enough where you're getting a glimmer, airy kind of feel. It's hard to get a lot of spatial effects, especially with headphones. And Topping's not known to have a lot of depth, have a lot of width, and especially if that is the case. So yeah, things worked out very good. Now, that's not where this ends, because I needed to test the headphone out, or the DAC out, basically. And I had to do this two ways. So there is a DAC output. You do a setting in here, and you can set to DAC. You get a fixed voltage coming out, going into a headphone amp. So I just, because shit did a sale for, was it $49.59 on the Magni Heretic right here, I thought, all right, let's test the output of this. How does this sound using the same DAC on two different headphone amplifiers? What I found is definitely a lot more treble energy, a lot more warm, lush, not as aggressive, very smooth, actually. I couldn't believe, for whatever they're putting this on sale for $59 or whatever it is, absolutely incredible to hear it. I've always bypassed the entry-level ship products. I've had the Ashgard, was it 2? I've got the Jotunheim original OG. And I love those headphone amplifiers. And actually, the Jotunheim is my preamplifier for my main system because it sounds so good. I have not found a preamplifier that sounds better. I'm not saying they're not out there. I'm just saying I have not had one that sounds better than the shit Jotunheim. So just telling you how much I do love the ship products, and I'm not biased as one or the other. I'm just saying that this is very warm, lush, smooth, where this is very thin, a lot of treble energy, more reference, clinical. You do get a sense of more detail through here, where sometimes, because of that sound signature, sometimes through here, you're just getting something smoothed over and you're not maybe getting all the details. So that's going to be up to you. Certainly with the DX5 Lite, you're getting those details. So for $349, you're going to get that kind of detail-focused sound, and if that's what you like, it's great. And again, using the Moondrop variations. I just looked it up. These things were released in June of 2021. So officially it would be 3 years old in a couple months. And they're still being talked about on the internet. And that's why I requested to review these, because they're still relevant at 3 years old. Moondrop did such a good job. And I have to say, for the first time, this is the absolute first time that I prefer a Topping product. I'm not saying they're bad. I prefer a Topping product over my Ship Bifrost 264 and my i5 Pro iCan. And that is a lot of kit. That's a lot of money I've invested there with these specific IEMs. If you're not aware, the variations have a targeted Harman curve, so frequency response curve, and with this you lose some of that mid bass authority, snare drums, things of that hit, and you also lose some treble energy. It's a very great sound, vocalist, and again, with the variations, I love acoustic music. It's actually one of the best I've heard from headphones or anything, and I actually fell in love. But it works best for me in the way that I like the frequency response to be thin enough to give me all the details and give me the extra treble energy that most DACs are not giving me with these, just to tip it up enough to make it sound even more airy and vocal presence, and the timbre, the strings, guitar strings and plucks all sound amazing on here. I can't say enough. So hey, I really thank you for coming out. I thank you for coming out, watching my video, supporting my channel. Please like, subscribe, costs you nothing, helps me grow I need to grow. I need to be profitable here in the future. So please don't be a sandbagger. Don't watch people's videos for free. Any video you watch on YouTube, not just mine, if you're watching the video, just hit like, subscribe. In case it's some girl trying on transparent clothing, maybe you shouldn't do that. But like, subscribe to my channel. Thanks, peace, and we'll see you later.